Hey everybody, and welcome back to Threat X3 Productions. I am Nick. Here with me today is...
It's Nate.
Yeah, and today we're going to be doing sort of a, thinking about things. This is going to be, one of the first ones that I have somebody else to think about things with. And yeah, we got a new generation. We got a new... Fuck you! Got a new year, so it's like, hey, what do we want this generation versus last generation? What do we want to change? You know, are there any old things that, hey, games used to do this, I want this back, or whatever? So let's start off with you. What's the first thing you can think of that, okay, this generation needs blank?
I think just based on how this generation is starting, we need games to be done before they come out.
Yes. You totally stole mine, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because that is clearly Cyberpunk's obviously the biggest example of, the game is just, and now it has the least amount of problems on PS5 and Series X, but they're still there.
Right.
They're more than they are on the PC. So games, and I hope this is a lesson for people who bitched and complained the entire time, that let's let it cook.
Right.
Don't be sending death threats, don't be doing all that kind of craziness. That's I gotta say is the biggest one.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is just ease of use. I really, both of these, both Xbox and Sony are touting different features or different things, xCloud, and then you've also got, with the DualSense, a new technology inside the game consoles. I hope that they stick with these and they don't become gimmicks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I would have to agree with your first point. What happened from the beginning of this generation to the end of it is games were just not done. Games were rushed out. This is the first generation that, through the entire thing, felt like it was more of a business rather than a passion. You know what I mean? And you could definitely argue that in the PlayStation 3 era, there was that, but I definitely feel like this is the first full generation where it was just so clear that EA, Activision, so on and so forth, were just so worried about, making it a business, making a profit, and it really shows in the quality of their games. I mean, if we talk about a list of unfinished games when they first came out, we could go Anthem, Fallout 76, Cyberpunk 77, Battlefield 4, Battlefield Hardline. What?
Hardline wasn't that bad. Hardline,
it wasn't bad, but it was still clearly an extra month or so would have gotten a lot of the network issues.
For sure.
I'm trying a Destiny. I mean, Destiny when it first came out, Destiny 2 when it first came out.
Battlefront 2 had technical issues, or was it just loot boxes?
Battlefront 2, there just wasn't enough. You know what I mean? So it was clearly, it was the microtransactions and everything. But you could definitely say that. That'll be our next thing we can talk about. But in general, I really hope every time it happens, you really hope that the industry is paying attention. You really do. When Anthem happened, and then Jason Schreier came out and put out his piece, and then Fallout 76, and then there's just one after another. There's so many of them. The developers are the ones that are getting hit the hardest because they're the ones that actually work on the game. And now we know from Anthem, we know from Cyberpunk 2077, we know for a fact that plenty of people were saying, hey, this is not ready. But the higher ups, the management, were like, it'll be fine. We'll just do a day one patch or whatever. And it's like, we can't do that anymore. We can't do that. Like, you really have to understand, and this is just something I don't think stockholders understand it. Unfortunately, the management might not even have a choice in it. They, you have to have it out by this day, or we're shutting down your building or something. We don't know, that could be it. But at the same time, something needs to change. Something needs to, it can't go on any longer. Yeah, another one would be microtransactions. I feel like the biggest frustration for this generation is that they want to charge us $70. And it's like, if it was $70 and that's it, like, that'd be fine. But we know for a fact that, like, Call of Duty, for instance, paid $70 to get that on the PlayStation 5, and then all the microtransactions on top of it, all the battle passes, all everything. Yeah, it's cosmetic, but I mean, it's so much of it that it's like, it's in your face all the time. So.
Well, that's the thing. That's how it was last generation, like with Modern Warfare in particular. It was the same thing. I think that the biggest difference now is just the fact that the game itself, base game, costs more. Now, here's the thing. I would still prefer the system that they have in place rather than the system they had in Black Ops 4, because that's absolutely atrocious.
Right, exactly.
I think they get a little egregious with what all they put in. The packs themselves, like as far as what costumes and outfits they gatekeep basically. Or price wall, because a lot of the base cosmetic stuff is actually kind of boring. Like the operators were okay, but I feel like Modern Warfare had that way better. But anyway, but I like how, for like example, $24, you get a lot of things. You get like a couple effects, stickers. Like, you get a bunch of stuff for what you pay for. Rather than what we talked about with Apex before. But going back to that, that's actually another one of mine is, how, kind of like what you said, it feels like it's starting to become more of a passion. If we look at the games that were day one for PS5, for example, you have Miles Morales, you have Astro's Playroom, you have whatever, Astro World. You had what else? Valhalla, Demon Souls, and you've got a lot of these games that we're seeing them kind of go back to the quality they used to be. I feel like we're weaning off the years, even Cyberpunk to an extent. It's not like in your face microtransactions. It's like this is like when I picked up Skyrim. It's a massive open world game, and that's what I'm playing it for. Like, we're getting past the Shadow of Wars and all these other.
Hopefully, I mean, as long as they're smarter with it, that's the thing. Because ever since the moment Fortnite came out, and they're like, hey, let's charge $18 effing $15 effing for a skin, for a single skin. It's just like, fuck you. But then you see Call of Duty, they have a single skin and an emblem, and you know what I mean. So they make tracer around. Exactly. Cool. They make their $15 go further. So is it still paying a shit ton of money for nothing? For air, it's technically, you don't hold it in your hand or anything like that, but they at least are being smarter about it. And I mean, I am way more likely to pick up something when it's that good of a price, or price value, maybe not price, but price value. You know what I mean? But I'm way more likely to pick it up then, and therefore they're gonna get more money out of me. They're gonna get more money out of people like me who have, I don't know, a life. Who don't do it for a living. Like Twitch streamers, they probably buy literally every skin that comes out, and they can afford to do that because one tip later and they've already made back what they've done. You know what I mean? So I just really wish they think about the common man. Like, I know that sounds so stupid, but it's like, think about the normal ass person. Even if, God forbid, we become famous, we have 1 million subscribers, we're making $1 million a month through sponsors, through donations, through whatever. Like, I'm still gonna remember how it was back in the day when I had to pay for stuff myself. I was a dad. I had 2 daughters, and I didn't have a lot of money to just justify $20 freaking to buy something that just is a costume, I will never forget what that feels like. And, you know, there's some people I feel like they do. And so, like, those people give the rest of us a bet. Like, the fact that freaking NBA 2K made, like, over, what, like, $5 billion last year? It's just like, and that's the fucking reason we keep getting these shitty microtransactions. So,
yeah.
All right. Any other things you think this generation needs to stop?
Needs to stop doing
or start? You know,
I think that every company should have. I think that every developer should have a tentpole person, like how Sony Santa Monica has Cory Barlog.
Right.
He's very local, very out there. Like get these people, like go back to the way it was where we had figures we could look to and we could, if we needed help, like, you know, and I really hope that becomes more of a thing. Like people are more open. But I'm also curious to see what it's going to be as far as game development goes, because we're obviously seeing how much more work these games are showing to be. What is that going to be like as far as, you know, game production? You know, is that going to, like, what's going to happen? And now it could be the opposite, that because technology is the way it is, everything's a lot more simple. I don't know. I don't know the way that, you know, that works overall, but I'm just curious to see with the bigger and bigger we're getting with these kind of consoles, what's the landscape going to look like in the next couple of years?
For sure. Yeah, on top of companies just taking more time to make sure that they're actually done, I hope that also we start to get rid of the stigma that crunch is an okay thing. Like, it's not. And people might try to say that it only happens 3 months before the game comes out, but no, it happens throughout the entire development of the game, and it's fucking ridiculous. Like, I can't imagine working 100 hours, especially having a life, being married, you know. Maybe if I was 20-something, 100 hours a week on something that I'm passionate about, yeah, I probably would go by and I wouldn't even notice it or whatever. But if you want to have a relationship, even just with friends, how do you do that working 100 hours a week? It's ridiculous. So hopefully on top of that, we get that. I hope what we start seeing this generation, it definitely started last generation, not saying it didn't, but I want to see more of just like side projects. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see... what's a good example? I guess Naughty Dog. It's like Naughty Dog can still work on The Last of Us Part 3 or whatever, but also work on something else. Work on something that's maybe a $30 game. You know, something that isn't going to take that much time, something that isn't going to, like, you literally know that it's not going to be... But let's just see some smaller things. Like, I guess a really good example would be the Dark Picture anthology, right? You know, you have The Man and Medan and Little Hope and, you know, those things.
Yeah.
Those are smaller games. They're meant to be played through in 3 to 4 hours, but they still have, like, really high quality. I want to see more of those. I want to see more of a game that I can kind of just play through. It still has, like, the AAA pedigree, but it's also just, like... It's just exists. Like, you're not going to make any more money off of it. You're literally just doing it because you freaking want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's our thoughts on this generation. What do we want to change? What do we want them to stop? It's your guys' turn. Down in the comments below or anywhere down there, you got at TX3 Productions, ThreadX3 on Twitch. You know, follow us, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. It does us a lot of help if you do that. All right, so I was Nick.
And I was Nate.
All right, and make sure to come back for Nerd Radio every Sunday at 11 a.m. Thanks, guys.